It's really difficult to admit when we have a problem, or even an addiction. My addiction is one I will never be able to escape from, and truth be told, I don't want to. My name's Jim, and I'm a fishing addict.
Here we go!
YouTube, welcome back to Line Bites. I hope you're all well and enjoyed the last vlog that went out. I'm down on the water park again. Got here about 4 or 5 o'clock last night and had a quick walk around. The only place that I saw fishing were exactly the same place I saw them showing last time, and just saw one fish again bow wave out of a tiny little bay, but that was kind of enough for me to jump on it. There's actually quite a few people on as well today. When I got here last night there was 3 or 4 different anglers on, which is complete opposite to what was going on last week, where I had the lake to myself. So I was sat up in a peg where I kind of thought I should have been fishing the majority of the winter, as there's a huge weed bed down this end, and I kind of figured that this is where it keep most of the heat if it was because of the weed bed dying. And as the weather started to warm up and everything's coming back to life again as we kind of come out towards the latter stages of winter, it's where I'm seeing the fish activity. So sat up here, I cast 2 solid bags out, put a few freebies around them, and yeah, went to bed. Throughout the night had what felt like a bit of an aborted take on the left hand rod, lifted into nothing really. I had the torch out and there were no coots or wildfowl around, so yeah, that was promising, and yeah, there were fish crashing over the spot. So this new bait that I'm using is definitely switching them on. Just sat here now doing a bit of work, making myself a brew. Been around again this morning and just had a look to see if I could see anything. The only place that I've seen anything is down in this bottom corner of the lake, but I'm doing that age old thing where you get into your head and you're wondering whether I should make a change or not. Got everything set up really lightweight, so I could just literally fling it around on the barrow if I need to move. But I've got 2 ideas in my head. So I heard fish crashing out over my spot last night, but also in the peg just down to my left. Now it's only 1 peg away, but it very much commands a different area of water on the lake. So it's a peg that I haven't fished yet, but I have heard fish crashing in it on the previous sessions, so that's one of the options. The other option is to move up towards the centre of the lake, towards where the islands are, where the water's a bit deeper, and yeah, try and intercept fish as they move up and down the lake. But I'm going to have a brew, get a bit of work out of the way, and make that decision. Part of me saying just stay here, but I think what I need to do is, if I stay here, I need to do a bit more leading around than I have done, and just try and find another spot that I'm really happy presenting a bait on. Here until tomorrow morning, and then going into work, and then I'll be back on Wednesday night and then Thursday night again. So got a few nights to put in this week, so I'm wondering whether if I start putting in the effort now into one swim, then I could potentially continue fishing that throughout the week if it doesn't get too busy. Kettle looks like it's boiled, so I'm going to get myself the first brew of the day because it's much needed. If you're new to the channel, I hope you enjoy the content. I hope you enjoy this video. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff, as it makes me know that you guys are enjoying what I'm putting out there. So yeah, I'll leave you to it, and hopefully we've got a couple of fish in the bank this time. Right then, so I've just met up with a mate of mine, Ben, who's come down to see me. He's local to the area, and he's brought with him a bit of good luck. So I'm pretty sure I've seen this fish showing quite a few times since being here, and this is the common that I'm pretty sure I saw last week. I just recognised the gold colour of it, and yeah, we were sat there, and I had one of the weirdest takes ever. Initially thought it was a coot, struck into it, and yeah, if she'll let me, just get a bit more water on her. She's very cold. If she'll let me. This beautiful common graced the net, so we've just weighed her. Minus with the sling, it's just gone 31, so it's going to be a good upper 20-pound fish. I'll zero this thing properly, but this came to solid bag with an allergen pop-up on that I trimmed down, white one. So Bosch baits, absolutely doing the work. Used to be a rugby player. We'll just look at the other side, and then we'll get some pictures. Look at that. That is not a bad fish for the first one out of Wick for the year. Absolutely buzzing with that. So dark. Happy. Right. Yeah. Well, I am absolutely buzzing with that fish. It went 31 on the scales minus the sling. It's sitting at about 27, 28. I'll be honest, I hadn't set the scales up or anything prior to that fish going off, because I was just getting ready to actually move. Yeah, so I was mate of mine, Ben, who I've got to know through the channel, popped down just to say hi and just for a bit of a chat, and we're off to France later on in the year, so good chance just to chat that. And he'd probably been here 10-15 minutes. The kettle was still boiling, and yeah, got a really weird take on my left-hand rod. It basically, we both thought it was a coot or something, a tufty that had picked up the bait. It kind of, I'm fishing tight lines, and the bobbin came up, dropped back down again, and then just kind of like, yeah, came up again, and then was dropping down, and almost a bit like a drop back. So I was like, well, I'm gonna hit it, because I mean, what if it's a tufty, then fuck, yeah, I'm gonna have to reset that rod anyway. And lifted into it, rod bent over, and I was like, there's a fish here. And it just ploughed around in front of us, like you'll be able to see on the footage. It made one real dart to the right, one to the left, but I mean, the fight was over in a matter of minutes, really. I actually joked with Ben at one point, I think it could be a tench, just because of the way it was not really putting up much of a fight. Saw it as it came up, and jet black common, real nice, like properly dark, almost like mahogany type colours, and yeah, slipped the net on it, and Ben was like, how big do you reckon? And I was trying to be conservative, and I said to him, I think maybe like high doubles, low 20s, because I didn't want to over egg it. But yeah, unhooked it in the water, got it into the sling, and it looked a lot bigger when we got it out, and yeah, the scales tipped round to show it's 27, 28, and probably the nicest fish I've ever caught, if I'm being totally honest. And that was the type of fish that I was wanting to catch when I came onto the South Cerney, when I came onto the Cotswolds Water Park, and those were the ones that I'd seen. I've just seen another fish roll out in front of me as well. Yeah, I couldn't have asked for a better start to 2022. I'm starting to go a bit crazy, because I feel like I'm a better angler than this place is making me out to be. There's been fishing
I've been finding it quite tough, in all honesty. And everything about me, my gut instinct was telling me I need to change swims. This top end of the lake's become quite pressured with a few more anglers showing up, and then there's this just hacking cold wind coming in from the east, and it's blowing right into the corner where I am now. And if I'd been a betting man, I would have said nothing's going to be here. And yeah, just as I was getting ready to pack up, Ben rocked up, which is literally why I didn't pack up sooner. And the rod was away. So Ben, you are my lucky charm, my good fortune omen. So feel free to come back down again when I'm here. I'll have brews on tap. Yeah, and I'm buzzing now. Ben's just left. Haven't eaten yet today, so I'm going to make myself some food, and fingers crossed something else produces. But that one fell to Bosch Baits Allergy 14mm wafter. No, 14mm pop-up that I've trimmed down so it sits critically balanced on the hook. And this is it's like a creamy, nutty, almost fruity style bait, and I'm currently feeding those in 18mm, which you can see here. And all I'm doing there is, which is not going to focus, but all I'm doing there is basically crushing these up into like a dust or a crumb, putting those in the bag, fishing a few holes in the bag as well, with the white pop-ups that have been trimmed down, and that's what produced the fish. It's the first time using this bait, and yeah, I mean, what an account to what a way to open the account with it. It's yeah, got me sold. So I'm just over the moon. That, I don't think, discounting size of the fish, I don't think I will catch a nicer fish than that all year, unless I catch some of my targets from the big water. And the chances of that, who knows? But 2022, let's be having you. So I thought I'd just quickly talk to you about where my head's at, and yeah, it's been a couple of hours now since that fish, and the rods have remained pretty static. So before Ben rocked up, what I had intended on doing was moving, as there's an easterly wind that's absolutely hacking into this corner now, and it's freezing. And with it being such a shallow lake, if I was the fish, I'd certainly be off the back of it, so on the other end, on the far side of the lake. And yeah, had Ben not shown up 5 minutes later than he did, I would have been packing up and moving to the other side of the lake. Now, that being said, that fish, that's a fish that I've seen. It's very distinctive, as you can see from the colours. I've seen it a few times over the course of these last few sessions, and it's been the fish that I first saw on my very first session down here. It's really distinctive. So what I'm wondering is whether that's just an area that fish particularly likes to stay now. It's got quite high, or relatively high, stock of fish in here, depending on who you ask. So there are going to be fish around this area, but it's been the only fish that I've actually seen show. So I'm wondering whether I stay here for another night, or I look at moving up to the other end of the lake, finding some new spots and starting from scratch. And it's a bit of a dilemma, really. I think the only thing that I've got on my side is the fact that I've got tomorrow night once I've finished work, and I've also got Thursday night as well. So I've got 2 more nights after tonight, and that essentially gives me the ability to waste a night if I want to. Now, everything inside me is saying if I hadn't had that fish, I'd be pushing up to the other side of the lake and finding one of the shelter spots, because this wind is freezing, and I can't imagine it's particularly nice for the carp to hold up in. But there is a big weed bed out in front of me here, and I think that's one of the reasons why I've seen those fish show, is because it's holding them here, because it keeps a bit of warmth through these colder months. I'm at a real loss to do, and I've been sat here now for about an hour or so since Ben left, just trying to work it out, and I've not really come to any conclusions. I think what I'm probably going to end up doing is
sitting tight here. I've had a fish, so there are fish in the area. I mean, it'd be naive to think that just because I've had one fish, and I'm pretty sure it's the fish that I've been seeing show, there aren't going to be more around this area. It just might be that that one's a bit more susceptible to catch, or that's come alive a bit sooner with this relatively mild weather that we've been having, so it's on the feed a bit sooner than others. I think I'll give it until kind of last light and we'll see what the weather does. Now, the wind's supposed to stay hacking into this end of the lake for the next 24-48 hours, so it could be a case that before I pack up and go, well, once I've packed up in the morning and I go, I'll walk around the lake before I leave and just see if I can spot anything, and that'll kind of talk me on to where I want to come when I get back from work tomorrow night. But yeah, we've still got a good, it's coming up 4:30 now. I don't have to be off here till 7:30 tomorrow, so I've still got a good, 14-15 hours on this lake, which, saying out loud, doesn't feel like a lot of time, but actually, retrospectively and in the grand scheme of things, it is. So I'm going to probably give it another half an hour, 45 minutes before I put some fresh bags on. I'll rock them out to the same spot. I'm actually going to fish both bags on that same spot now, probably about half a rod length apart, just to see if I can trip anything else up that's coming through that area. But it isn't looking great for a bite, and it wasn't looking great for a bite when I had that fish earlier on, but I've had a fish here, and it's gonna, I've probably got about an hour of darkness left now. An hour of light left now before it starts to drop, so it'll take me a good hour just to walk around the lake and actually identify anything in the first place. Then it'll be a case of setting up in the dark and trying to find spots in the dark. Now, I've got no dramas about doing that, but given the fact that I've got the redundancy of 2 more nights left in the bank, I think I might just wait it out here. But you never know, I might end up moving. And that is, yep, see, that was a tufty there, so like I said to you there, I'm pretty sure that was a tufty. I'm picking that up, so we'll redo this and get it back out on the spot. But I mean, if it wasn't, then things are looking up. So yeah, I'm going to crack on and get the rod back out. Well, I think you're probably going to struggle to see me in this, so I'll keep it short and sweet. But yeah, since we were rudely interrupted on that last take, I've just been watching the water and talking to a lad that's just dropped in next to me, to my left, James, who fishes a lot on one of the other waters on here, and he's had the big girl out of that one, and he's just needing the big girl out of here. But yeah, I was just tying up some fresh solid bags because I'm now fishing basically 2 rods on the same spot from where I had that fish earlier on, and my right hand rod tears off into life. Strike into it, I was like, yeah, there's definitely something there. Start playing it, and the further it gets in, I'm like, what is this? It feels like a bream. Keep on playing it, bringing it in. As I see it surface, I'm like, what is that? Weeds or like a stick or something? Have I been done? And get it in, and yeah, hooked a tufty. Bottom centre of its bill. If you've ever picked a tufty up, really soft. The thing didn't know what had hit it, but yeah. I wish I'd taken a video of it, really. I didn't think until after it was swimming away. But yeah, it's getting dark now. I'm going to pull off at about 7:30 tomorrow morning. Before I do, I'm going to do a quick lap of the lake, just see if I can see anything showing. If I can't, then I'll drop a load of bait into here and then be back on tomorrow night after I finish work. So yeah, I'm going to get some scoff on the go now and try and get one, because it's absolutely Baltic. Fingers crossed, no more tufties, but more fish. Right then guys, so it's just gone about 7:15 now, and yeah, I had to call it a morning on the lake, because I've got to get back to work. Got to get in and got to get in, and I've got some meetings that I have to physically be in for today. So unfortunately, couldn't just work from the bank. Really quiet night. Really quiet night. Didn't even have a bleep on the rod, which was quite frustrating. But it kind of proves, I guess, in my head that actually maybe that fish was just a one-off, and the fish moved away from that area, if there were any more, based off the pressure that they were getting from the other anglers that had dropped in around us, but also that cold easterly. Even though it had dropped off massively, it died down for about an hour or two and then picked back up again, and it was blowing straight in the bivvy. So not the one by any stretch of the imagination, but not all's lost. At least I'm confident enough now to say, right, I've done a night there, didn't have anything after that first fish, so let's move on and try a new peg. So I'm going to be in work for most of the day, so I won't get to the lake until quite late on this evening. Well guys, sorry about before in the car. Yeah, the camera just wouldn't stay upright, so I decided just to call it quits. But essentially what I was saying was, when I came back this afternoon, which brings up speed to where I am now, I think I'm going to stick to the side of the lake. So I guess it'd be the west side of the lake. As this easterly sort of blowing straight down. So I'm just having a walk around now, just trying to see if I can spot any fish. The lake's got a lot busier since this morning, before I had to go to the office. So I'm just rolling around the top, just with my kit, trying to work out where's going to be best for us to cast. Haven't seen anything showing. I don't know this side of the lake as well as I know the other side. Well, but we'll keep on having a wander around. Hopefully we'll be able to find a fish. I'm pretty confident that I can put a few on the bankers. Just looking into this bay now, and this is the area where I kind of had in mind. This bay down here is very protected from this wind, and it is bitterly cold. I've not seen anything as of yet. I haven't had a chance to get into the snags properly, but just off the island, that little dot island, there is a nice clear spot which is coming up through the fortress. So I'm going to keep on having a push around and just see what I can see. I've just been sat watching the water for about 5-10 minutes, and I've scooted around, had a look further down the bank, and yeah, true to form, nothing's showing really. Now if I stay up in this peg here, where those snags are down there, which I think the fish will be holding up in just for a bit of shelter, I think as the wind dies they're going to start pushing down, and I'm in quite a good place to intercept them. A peg that's about 2 or 3 swims up from there, it's the what they call the bowl, which is the deepest area of the lake. Now there's a nice set of reeds that kind of handrails it just to the side, which I'm thinking about also as another contender, just because obviously fish start to move around the reeds and things like that as we start to leave winter and enter spring. But with this easterly blowing right into them, I'm not sure how much the fish are going to be in there, if they're not going to have pushed away at all. I'd be pretty set up here, to be honest, if I'd seen anything. To be fair, that's the same for every single peg on the lake. But I'm thinking this might not be a bad shout to start with. I think I'm not going to set the bed chair up or anything like that. I'm just going to get the rods out, and we'll go from there and see if anything happens. And if it's looking good, then brilliant, we'll stick here. If not, then I think at least I've got the option to move further down, as I don't think anyone else will be coming. This top end of the lake really intrigues me. It looks really carpy. I've just not seen anything, so not the best thing to base a decision off, but for the time being I don't have much else to go on. I'm kind of wary that if I move down to that end of the lake as well, there are fishermen further down in I think it's called the Narrows, and I can't remember the name of the other swims, but I'd be the only one up on this end, and I think if I was to back lead as well, that'd just, yeah, it'd make it, I think there'd be less pressure on the fish is what I'm trying to say. So yeah, real conundrum. You gotta love carping, don't you? It's an absolute quiz, proper puzzle for you to try and get your head around, but this is why we love it. So yeah, I'm going to set up, I think I'm going to put a couple of zigs on to start with, just on black foam, and we'll see what goes from there. So I'm just setting up now, and what I've decided to go with are two zigs. Now what I've done is I've got some 12-pound zig line, and I've attached one of the size 8 hexcape hooks that I've got from Hobo Armour. Now what I've used is I've actually used one of the Nash zigger liners. Now I normally use the Hobo Armour, but I want to fish a bait on this one, and we've gone for the Bosch bait Allergy in white. So I just wanted something, this is really, the attraction of coming off this and the smell is really, really powerful, and I just want that to draw the fish down. Now in terms of length, this is probably about 1.5 foot, maybe slightly longer, and the reason for that is this one's going out towards an island, and I think the fish are probably going to be cruising around those like top third of the water. So I've got one that's about 1.5 foot, and then I've got another which is slightly shorter. Well, it will be when I've tied it up properly, and that'll sit at about 1 foot. And the idea is that I just want to intercept fish as they move forward, because I don't think they're going to be amazingly high in the water because of this wind that's blowing. But then at the same time, I don't think they're going to be static, as off the back of this wind here it's actually quite warm. It was saying 11 degrees in the car, which is the first time I've seen it in double figures since getting back from Germany. So I'm going to fling these two out for a couple of hours and just see how we go before deciding whether I stay or go. Well, ladies, well, probably lady and gentlemen, I'm feeling pretty vindicated in my decision to come around here. When I got round here, I've obviously gone through the reasons with you as to why I chose this area, and that, it was backed up almost straight away. So a lad that I met yesterday came over and said, like, from about 4 o'clock onwards he'd seen fish boshing out over on this side all day, well, most of the evening last night, and he'd seen them again. And after having a bit of a watch after getting those zigs out, there were fish all over the top, and true to form, a bit of a chunk boshed out. So I think definitely coming up here and setting up off the back of the wind, they've just been getting their heads in that sun. I mean, there's fish showing now, getting their heads out in that sun and enjoying it. It's the most movement I've seen since coming onto this lake, so really, really happy with my choice to come over here. He's popped in the peg down for me, which is probably, to be fair, about good 100 metres, 150 metres down, and he's going to drop in on here tomorrow once I've gone, hopefully, because I've had a few fish. So at the moment I've got the two zigs out, as you've seen. Now I actually had a bit of a swap round, lost a fish early on that you saw on the video, and then shortly afterwards, when I was talking to matey, same again, had another take but lifted into nothing, and it wasn't any wildfowl or anything like that, so who knows. It's a bit frustrating, but I mean, it means there's probably not much excuse for me to not catch this evening, because this is definitely where the fish are holding, because that wind is freezing. It's really bitter, and it's really not the one. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm I'm going to have a lead around, and I'm going to give myself just a couple of casts. I'm putting a really light lead on, and I think from being in here before, about 7 rod lengths out, just to the right hand side of the island, there's a nice gravel spot. Now I'm pretty sure that's where it is. I just want to confirm that. And I think I'm going to put 2 rods on there tonight. Now I'm going to fish a couple of solid bags, some small solid bags, and I think what I'll do is I'll catapult a few free offerings around it just to create a nice parcel. But the behaviour that I saw from the fish today was the most kind of switched on and active that I've seen them since being on here, and it looks like they want to feed. So I think if I've got as good a chance as any at the moment, it is tonight. We've just got to hope that it goes well, because otherwise, yeah, again, back to the drawing board, see what we can do. I'm going to continue just to get these bags prepped. I'm leaving the zigs out for a little while longer. I mean, I may even leave one out on a zig all night. I was contemplating leaving 2, but I genuinely think because it's so shallow out in front of me, it won't take a lot if I use high attract baits to get them down onto the spot. So I think, yeah, I'll probably end up just doing the 2 solid bags. It's coming up about 4 o'clock now, so I've got about an hour and a half of light left, and I want to be set up, good to go by then, so I should have made a decision on what I'm going to be doing. And yeah, I'm going to stay in this peg, so I'll get the bivvy set up, and hopefully we're in for a sleepless night. I really hope so. I've got a weekend away with work this week, and it'd just be nice to finish it off this week fishing with another cracker. Yeah. Well, it was a bit further than I remembered it being, but yeah, I found that nice gravel bar that I remember from the one session that I did in this swim at the back end of last year. So I've just clipped it up now. I've made 2 solid bags, and yeah, I think I'm going to get those out with a bit of freebie or free offerings around it.
We're now fishing, but I've got to clear up all of my admin that has been littered all around the swim. So we'll get on with that, and then I'm going to get some scoff on the go. So I'm just resetting the rods. It's coming up about 8 o'clock now, and yeah, it's gone really quiet on the lake. There's a lot of birds messing around and things like that. But in terms of fish activity, it's difficult to just say if there's anything showing or not. I certainly haven't heard anything that sounds carpy, which is probably a dead giveaway. Just reset the rods for the rest of the evening now. And what I've done is I've placed them a bit further over to the right of those hard spots that I've found. So essentially my left is now fishing where the right was, and the right I've pushed over slightly further to the right by about 2.5, 3 rod lengths, just as that's where I saw a lot of fish earlier on today. So earlier on I did feel really confident. I felt like, yeah, something's going to happen. I still feel like that. Got to keep this positive energy up, don't we? I'm going to get a brew on now and just continue to listen, because apparently they were showing themselves a lot last night, and they've been showing themselves throughout the day. So hopefully me placing myself here hasn't put them off a bit with the angling pressure, but I mean, I don't think it will have done. I've just got to fish like I know I can, and we should be able to get a fish on the bank. Well then, guys, frustrating night again, real frustrating night. The Canadian geese were going mental till about, probably till about 1 o'clock.
and everything was really quiet. At 2 o'clock, had an absolute screamer on the right hand rod, and yeah, lifted into nothing again. I really don't know what's going on. Like, if it was any other water, I'd say trailers. Like, if it's a busy day ticket, like, then I'd almost certainly say trailers, but I just really don't know. The fish just rolled there, so I've been up since about 6 o'clock just as it gets light now, and it's coming up towards 7 now. Yeah, I can't say I'm too happy. I've left the rods where they were, because when I got it out, I had a nightmare as well, which I'll show you in a second. But when I got the right hand rod back out, I got a huge wind knot in the main line, so had to redo the bag on that one and redo the rod, and yeah, it wasn't ideal, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, it's frustrating, but I thought last night was going to be the one. I thought I'd finally found where the fish were hanging out, and I thought, you know what, that means I'm going to be into them. But for whatever reason, it didn't happen. I'm wondering what I should have done differently. I'll come back to you on that one once I've had a little think, because right now I can't quite put my finger on it. Well guys, that was the end of that session. I got taken out by 2 tufties, again hooked in the bottom lip, so sorry to bring the rod back in. So I need to be getting off towards work anyway, and just quickly respooled 2 of the 3 before I go. Something about new line that it makes a reel look like it's brand new, doesn't it? But that's it for this week on this winter series that I've been doing, and yeah, gonna go and spend some time now in the office, and later on this afternoon head over to a new water that I'm going to be doing a campaign on for the rest of the year. But unfortunately for you guys, you will not see it. That will be kept very hush hush. So if you're new to the channel and you've enjoyed this, then please remember to like and subscribe and all that good stuff. Do hope you've enjoyed it. Leave a comment as it lets me know you're enjoying it. And yeah, I'll see you next time when I'm on Drayton.